Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to a new episode where I review vintage fountain pens. As I promised you the last week when I reviewed a beautiful Melbi German fountain pen from the 1960s, this time I have another Melbi product, but I believe it's from the 1930s. Like I told you on the previous episode, Melbi was produced by the famous Krell manufacturer, German manufacturer. They started their business in the 1920s and they were located in the town of Brebau. Actually, the Melbi brand was adopted initially as an abbreviation of Merz and Krell and the town where they manufactured their products, Brebau. They later adopted brands like Senator and Diplomat. Well, in 1936, guys, this Merz and Krell firm was one of the first German companies to experiment with the use of plastic resin injection, purchasing a special machine to produce parts with this technique. I'm not so sure that this is a plastic model or celluloid model, but it is a beautiful, beautiful model nevertheless. And what I want to show you is this beautiful, beautiful engraving that we see on the barrel. Interesting, guys. I have here the fountain pen from the 1960s, and you can see we have the same characters, Melbi, and the same logo. So the same logo from the 1930s also present on a product from the 1960s. And today, guys, I will present to you the Melbi Transparent, and the number of it is engraved right over here. We have a 423 or a 422. Let me see in a better lighting. I believe it's a 423. Well, I'm sorry, guys, outside it seems to be like two cats are fighting. Oh, this is what I was missing in this review. So you can see a beautiful, beautiful product. Whoa, the cats are still fighting. Sorry, guys, I will pause the video for a second to close the window. Now it's better. I hope that those nasty cats won't disturb us anymore. You can see a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful and elegant fountain pen. And what is more beautiful is and incredible, it is the price that I paid for it. So guys, believe me or not, I paid only 180 lays for it, including the shipment cost, or approximately 36.44 euros or 35.33 American dollars. It is a beauty on its own. Let me present it to you. So you can see this interesting pattern on it, which is present on the cap and on the barrel, and the name 423 engraved on it. I was watching for other engravings because I don't really know the size of the name, but there is only 423. We have an interesting, beautiful ornated gold ring right at the cap and a nice, interesting clip. We see some breathing holes, one here and another one on the opposite side. Let me see if we have, yes, a springy clip. It ends in this interesting flat like a jewel, but it is also made of the same material that makes the clip, the cap and the body, I believe, celluloid or maybe a plastic. Again, they experimented in 1936 with injected plastic, so I really don't know what the material they used to produce this beautiful, beautiful pen. You can see the model Melbi Transparent. And why did they call it transparent? Well, I believe that one reason is this gorgeous, gorgeous transparent ink window. And they use that technique of making it like a chessboard table. And when I see this interesting design, which is present in the German fountain pens of the 1930s, I think that it is quite nice. Of course, you can see they had interesting ink windows back in the 1960s. This is filled with ink, but it is a multifaceted ink window, as you can see right over there. And this is, I think, the reason they named this model Melbi Transparent, because of this interesting ink window. We have a grip section. It ends in a concave wave. It gives the opportunity to hold it quite well. And this is the nib, guys. This is an original nib, Melbi 14 karat quality nib, an in-house made nib. And I say that it is in-house made in their factory because you will see that in the 1960s they externalized the production of gold nibs and they used Bock made gold nibs like this nib over here. I'm trying to focus on the logo, and probably you see the deer that runs through the cliffs of the mountains, which is definitely the logo of the Bock nib. But returning to our nib from the 1930s, this is a beautiful 14 karat nib. At the end, we have a simple ebonite feeder, and this is the fountain pen, guys. I'm not so sure. Let me see. I believe it is a button filler, but no, it's not a button filler. It is a piston filler. Let me see if the piston is functional, and it appears to function. I'm not so sure that the corkscrew was replaced in some times. I will try to see if it can draw ink, and I will do the writing sample. So definitely this cap here, I'm not so sure you can see in this lighting, but this cap is made out of hard rubber, and also this part over here, because it developed a brown patina in time. But this part here and the grip section and also the cap, they remained the same shiny black. So maybe a celluloid or maybe an injected plastic, but definitely the last part of the barrel is made out of hard rubber. Okay, guys, so I will leave the dimension of this beautiful fountain pen on the screen, and in the same time I will change the angle of the camera, guys, for you to see better the writing sample. For the writing sample, I have right here my notepad, and I have here the writing sample I did with this Melbi from the 1960s fitted with the Bock nib. So I will put it right over here, and here I will do the writing sample with our fountain pen, the Melbi Transparent 423 from the 1930s. And because I've did that writing sample using the Faber-Castell turquoise ink, we will use the same ink for our 1930s fountain pen, because we should compare the two nibs to see which one writes better. Okay. Like I told you, I don't know if it draws ink. If it doesn't draw the ink, we will probably dip the fountain pen in ink. Let me see. Well, yes, you probably can see it did not draw the ink. Definitely that corkscrew needs to be replaced, but we will do a writing sample using it as it is. And let me put this here. Okay, now I have here a Melbi Transparent. The model is 423, and I suspect it was made in the 1930s. It was made in Germany, of course, Germany. And judging by the way this nib writes, we have, of course, a gold 14 karat nib. And I think it writes like an EF or an extra fine nib. Extra fine. And in comparison with the other extra fine nib from the 1960s, it writes more thinner. And I suspect that although they said it is an extra fine nib, but this from the 1960s, it is an F nib. So this is how an extra fine nib should write. Okay, extra fine nib. I said it was made in the 1930s, and now I'm curious to see if we have some flex to it. Yes, definitely a little flex, but a much pronounced flex. That's the flex from the 1960s. I'm curious to now to see how juicy this nib appears to be. Yes, quite a little juice. And now to see the line variance. So here no pressure, and here I'm starting to apply pressure. And yes, we can definitely see also a little line variance to this interesting, beautiful nib. I'm not so sure. Maybe it needs to be tuned a little bit. Let me do also the nail test. Yes, definitely. You can see the tiles. They are spreading. And I think that this is sufficient. Okay, and now I will try to do a signature with it. Yes, definitely a good signature one. What I don't like about this nib is the fact that it scratches a little bit. Not in an alarming way, guys, but I'm not so sure. Maybe the tiles are misaligned. It definitely needs a little bit of work. And probably, yes, you can see that the tiles are crossing each other. Let me see if I can zoom for you to see better, guys, this aspect. So this appears to be quite well, but you can see that slightly one is over the other, and like this. I can try to see if I can do like this, and maybe I can correct the position of them, but they certainly have that characteristic. So guys, this is one of the problems when you have flexible nibs. Sometimes you tend to to push them hard, and they develop these little misalignments, and they need to be let's say cured by a specialist in nibs, like a nib whisperer. Okay, so let me see if we can reverse write with this nib, but because it has those reverse writing, a little bit of scratch. It lost a little bit of the ink flow, but no, my I say no, no reverse writing capability. And now let me tell you about the quick brown fox. And why not? Let me write it right over here, guys, for you to compare the two nibs. So the quick brown, definitely it has that misalignment that gives a little bit of scratch over the lazy dog. So it shows, guys, this is a nib from the 1960s, probably used for short periods of time, and this is a nib from the 1930s, which probably saw much more use than the Bock nib. But again, when we talk about strict performance, we can see the similarities between the two nibs. Two German nibs from one from the 1930s and the other from the 1960s. So guys, this was my review of the Melbi Transparent 423 from the 1930s. I want to wish you to have a nice day wherever you are, my dear friends. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel to support my activity. I will see you again in the next episode. Till then, bye bye and God bless, my friends.